Now, the BBC's action-packed police drama The Responder is back on our screens for a second series.
The award-winning show follows Martin Freeman's character as a burned-out copper dealing with Liverpool's drug gangs while working the relentless night shift beat. Here's a taste of what we can expect this season.
You smell gas? If we smell gas, we are obliged to enter this property to protect life and limb, OK? So, can you smell it?
Oh, it's so tense.
Brilliant, isn't it? Well, we're joined now on the sofa, as you can see, by Adedayo, who plays Rachel in the series, and by Tony Schumacher, who, of course, created the show. Morning to both of you. Lovely to have you here. Nice to be back, Tony. Another series.
Yeah, God, I can't believe we're getting away with it.
You are, though. You really are.
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, it's crazy. And to do it and get such good feedback is... Because we're in like a little bubble and you don't know if we're just confirming to each other if it's any good. And suddenly it goes out and it looks like it might
and
be.
people agree with us and we're like, really?
What? We're right?
Yeah.
Why do you find it hard to believe?
Because I'm a bit of an idiot who like knows nothing about making television and just thinks I'm just a chancer who's just...
Stop.
I do, honestly, I do.
Just
honestly.
explain to people who don't know your backstory, how you got into this.
I always wanted to write as a kid and was absolutely useless at school and, you know, slummed around doing thousands of jobs, ended up being a copper, had a nervous breakdown and become a writer when I realised I had nothing to lose. That was quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
really good. Yeah.
Casually say, had a nervous breakdown.
I don't know. I mean, it was a good old-fashioned nervous breakdown. I was living in my car for a while. It was surreal, really, because last night we did a screening last night in Liverpool, and it was so funny to look up at like a couple of hundred people like in the theatre, and you think, wow, like I was, thinking very, very, very dark thoughts a few years ago. And you're suddenly surrounded by all this success. So, really, incredibly lucky, but definitely a chancer.
And very well deserved. Tony's an incredible writer.
Yeah. And what's it like to perform those words that he's written?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a gift. Because, even reading the first episode, actually, I always say this, Rachel's character wasn't really in the first episode of Series 1, and I loved the episode still. I was like, the writing is so human. It's just gorgeous. Yeah.
And we have to be honest with you that, we run a promotional thing, don't we, in our programme, showing clips of what's coming up next. Took a long time for us to find a clip with no swearing.
I know, but that's not my fault. That's all it is.
Definitely him.
Not one swear.
It's all written.
My lips normally, honestly.
No, it's all written down. It's all Tony. It's all Tony.
It's all fine at 9 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah,
8 o'clock in the morning. Not so much. We've been, of course, reflecting on the life of Bernard Hill, whose death was announced on Sunday, literally just hours before the episode, with kind of cruel but kind of amazing timing as well, because it was a moment to see him in action and remember how good he was. What was he like to work with?
He was absolutely incredible. And one of the best things about this show is that, I know this is such a lovely thing to say, but I'm not a lovey in any way, shape or form. There's so many friendships are formed on the show. People are really close as a result of it. And me, I wouldn't be a writer if it wasn't for Alan Bleasdale and Bernard Hill. They were the thing that inspired me as a little kid.
Boyfriend of
it was pivotal, in my life. And getting to know Bernard and forming that friendship with him and then having it snatched away before he got to see how good he was. It's just...
Remind us of the moment when you persuaded Bernard to take part. I don't know whether it was you persuaded him, but when he agreed to take part.
Well, it was funny in a way, because we all had conversations with him, and we were worried about... He was worried, that people had forgot him, which is astonishing when you see the impact that he's had over these last couple of weeks, you know, and it was...
Outpouring of love.
Oh, man, you know, and it was so... beautiful to say to him, no, Bernard, you're going to be absolutely incredible, you're going to come on. And then when he come on and he had this, like, kind of gravity of presence on the set, didn't he? Oh, it's just amazing, just absolutely amazing.
And for younger actors, the opportunity of working with somebody like him and learning and working together must have been amazing.
I'm actually really gutted because I didn't have any scenes with him, and I really wish I did. And watching him on screen in The Responder, I think he's incredible.
What is it do you think that makes him incredible? From an actor's point of view?
Because he's got like a gravity, and even when he's still, your eyes can't help but draw to him. And I don't know, it's just a gravity that he has, a gravitas, I think is the right word that he has. And it's just magic to watch. Yeah.
I think there's, in the scenes between him and Martin, there's a real sense of like the old prize fighter and the new kid on the block, if you like. There's something magic between those two actors.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing about both Martin and actually Addy as well is often you haven't got to write lines for them. I'll write a line.
Just swear words.
Yeah. No, I'll write a line for them, but I'll think, right, OK, we're going to say this, we're going to say that, you know, in a scene. And then suddenly, when you look at, like, Addy and Martin, they can say a lot without any dialogue. So then I'll pair it right back. I'll just think, oh, God, their face is going to be amazing, their eyes are going to be amazing. Bernard's got that. Bernard had that in abundance. Just don't... There's a moment where he points his finger. It's breathtakingly good.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, we interview writers a lot on this programme, don't we? And you kind of think, oh, it's all about the words. But it's really not about the words, is it? And that's where you bring the magic, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because for an actor, it is about the words. Like, when you read the script, you're like, oh, this is it. This is exactly what I want to do. I want this role. But then I guess when you get on set, you bring a part of yourself into it, and you know what I mean? But for me, it always starts with the script, always.
And tell us about your character.
Rachel. So she is coming out of a really rough relationship, an abusive relationship, and she hasn't found any help. She hasn't asked for any help. She hasn't moved on. So she's physically stepped away from this man, but she hasn't mentally stepped away from him. And I think we just see someone suffering with PTSD and just kind of acting in a state of hypervigilance and how they deal with that.
Isn't that interesting? Someone with PTSD acting in a state of hypervigilance, because that is something of a theme this time around, isn't it?
It's massively so, yeah. You know, I think everyone in the show, every character in the show had a really traumatic time, and it would be crazy not to reflect that and to try and do it as real as can possibly do, you know. I mean, I suffer with PTSD myself, you know, so it's kind of... it's great to get the opportunity with the actors to do that, you know, to show it. And the hypervigilance is a classic example of not writing it. You know, having these guys who can do it, you know, you're painting with the colours that they bring, and it's just, oh God, it's just a joy, you know.
The word of joy is really interesting, because you've talked about what you've been through personally.
Yeah.
It must have been tough as well to bare your soul.
Oh, I sob my heart out at 3 o'clock in the morning in the office. I do it all the while, you know. It's part of the job for me, but it's my way, like, of being me, you know.
And does it help you? Has it helped you?
I don't know, that's every wife. I don't know. No, it does. It definitely helps me. I think writing is good for the soul. I'd recommend it to anyone, even if nobody else sees it. I think it's good for the soul. I think it's a way of putting yourself out there and discussing things with yourself, you know.
How does it work for an actor when you're playing Rachel? I'm not sure. Is that good for the soul? Does it help? Because it's so tense and emotional.
It's a lot to carry, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it is. I think because obviously I love it. I enjoy it so much. And anything that's challenging, anything that feels like, you know, like there's a conflict there is really exciting to play and to do. Obviously, you know, there are really tense and emotional scenes that you'll do, and sometimes you have to kind of protect yourself and take care of yourself. So, like, I always say, like, our set, the Responder set, is so much fun, and there's so much banter, there's so many jokes flying around all the time. So in between takes, like, making sure you're just laughing and having a good time, do you know what I mean? And not taking it on, because that's not the job, do you know what I mean?
And helping one another.
Yeah, exactly, you know?
Thank you both so much. Really great to meet you. Delighted it's been such a success and it's doing so well. Thank you both so much. And you can watch episode 2 of The Responder this Sunday night, 9 o'clock on BBC One.
You can catch up on the series on BBC iPlayer, including Series 1. If you've missed that, I really recommend you do go to iPlayer and start at the beginning.